I always wanted to be a filmmaker since I can remember. I made my first film when I was a freshman in high school. Well, I always did photography, and then I did law. Could not get a job as a director, so I became an editor. So I edited some really. I started out doing sports, and then I did news. I became a director. I worked for Sports Channel when it first started. Show. It was a big show called Rock in Rio, and it was many of the biggest stars in the world were playing at the Maracan Stadium, which is the largest soccer stadium in the world. And I would rehearse until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then one day I was so tired I did not want to wait for my driver to drive me back to the hotel, so I got the keys from a production assistant and drove the rent-a-car, and somehow I got lost into an area like these very poor areas of Brazil, especially in Rio and Sao Paulo, are called favelas, and they're sort of illegal cities within the city. And I took a wrong turn. I ended up in one, and I drove down this long alley, and there were all these people staying around. There was enough light from their sort of, they would make fires in 50-gallon drums. They could see that I was white and that I was in a rent-a-car and that I didn't know what I was doing. And so they started throwing stuff at me and yelling at me to stop. My thought was they were going to rob me. Anyway, I sped up a little bit and just sort of, the more they threw things at me, the faster I would go, and I got going really fast. And then I got at this blind alley, and this is 4 o'clock in the morning. It's completely dark except for the light from these fires, and there's people chasing me, and my headlights shine on this wall at the dead end. And this is during the first Gulf War, and it said, spray painted on the wall was "Viva Saddam." Mill Valley is filled with many successful, often overachievers, and I don't think anybody in Mill Valley is impressed by what anybody else does. A lot of time, if I'm on an airplane or something, you start conversation, they ask what you do. Most of the people that I happen to sit next to are business, corporate or law or something, and they never get to do what they think is, wildly exciting. So sometimes, they'll ask stories, but, the reality is every job is hard and it takes a lot of time from your family sometimes, which is the only regret that I have, is that sometimes I'm away from home and I miss that. But on the other hand, if I wasn't happy in what I'd be working in my job, I wouldn't be happy as a person. So it's a balance.